just don't like the early morning games in London, Bloom, but we've had quite a bit to talk about in week 4 recap here on the Audible. So let's start with the Vikings over the Saints barely. 28-25, the final score, and now the Vikings are 3-1. The Saints are 1-3, going in opposite directions. Kirk Cousins, 273, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. We saw Justin Jefferson get 10 for 147 and a rushing touchdown. Can't forget about that. Dalvin Cook all braced up, all banged up, 20 for 76 in this one. Adam Thielen, 8 for 72. Irv Smith, 3 for 23. Alexander Madison, well, if you did play him, he got your receiving touchdown. So there's that, Bloom. But either way, the early morning game in London, maybe not the greatest, but we had some entertainment and something to talk about in this one.
Yeah, double doink ending this one. And see, here's the theme for week 4. How many of these teams are actually any good? I don't think that many, right? When we're comparing them to each other based on results, there are only a few that I can say confidently are good teams. Maybe neither of these, although Kirk Cousins was solid. You did see Justin Jefferson struggle with some matchups, both a team-wide matchup and his specific matchup, but he was better than Marshawn Lattimore. Keep that in mind with DK Metcalf, probably seeing a lot of Marshawn Lattimore next week. Dalvin Cook was fine. Didn't have a lot of production, as you said. Madison getting the touchdown there on the reception and a nice run after that saved you if you went with Madison as Dalvin Cook's going to get the work split or maybe not even make it through this game healthy. Otherwise, there's not much here except Adam Thielen still looking spry out there, definitely not washed up. And yeah, you said Minnesota's 3-1 and they're facing a Chicago team that's almost 3-1, 2-2.
Yeah, almost with Andy Dalton there at the end, but whatever. 236, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Chris Olave continuing his hot play, 4 for 67 and a touch. Marquez Callaway, 3 for 53. Adam Troutman, 3 for 37. I'm mentioning guys nobody started.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, 11 for 57 and a touchdown. Taysom Hill with a rushing touchdown. Mark Ingram with 10 for 30. And of course, we were watching Alvin Kamara do a bunch of nothing today as we watched the practice report and knew he wasn't going to do anything today.
Yeah, he was out. See, knee-jerk reaction, knowing what you know about Dennis Allen often being in the same building with him. Is he watching this game thinking maybe this team is better off with Andy Dalton?
Yes, 1,000%. Coach loves security.
Yeah.
Loves that security blanket. That's who Andy Dalton is for Dennis Allen.
Yeah, because when you look at Jameis Winston, with the exception of the fourth quarter against the Falcons, the offense hasn't been good. And it hasn't been good against a team like the Panthers. So, yeah, Andy Dalton, the net result was actually the offense was pretty viable without Kamara and without Michael Thomas. So I think we may have a quarterback controversy on our hands here. Latavius Murray looked good. Ingram goes out in this one. Latavius Murray looks like he should be in an NFL backfield, and he'll probably be at least the number 2 back next week, maybe the starter against Seattle. Chris Olave didn't get those targets downfield, did get a 32-yarder to set up the double doink 61-yarder. Lutz made a 60-yarder and then double doinked a 61-yarder that would have tied it and sent it to overtime. And that was it. The passing game was pretty quiet, but Andy Dalton didn't make any big mistakes, and that might be good enough to be the starter with Seattle again coming next week.
Seattle, the hot Seattle team. We're going to talk about them in just a little bit. But let's talk Atlanta and Cleveland up next here on the Audible. 23-20 is the final score. So you see it gets about to go down, and it did with the Browns. 234, no touchdowns, 1 INT for Jacoby Brissett. Nick Chubb, 19 for 118, 1 touchdown there. Jacoby Brissett also had a rushing touchdown as well. Kareem Hunt, 10 for 49 on the ground, 2 for 19 as a receiver. David Njoku, 5 for 73. There's something there. That's continuing. That's good. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 5 for 71 in this contest. Not much else. Amari Cooper with 1 for 9. Not much else for anyone else, as the Browns just couldn't get it done with Atlanta scoring 13 of the fourth quarter to go over the top.
You get the feeling this Browns team feels like they should be 4-0. If we would have said going into the season, you're 2-2 with Jacoby Brissett, you'd say, okay, that's fine. Jacoby Brissett just needs to keep him in the playoff hunt for when he hands the baton over to Watson. But, we have the loss to the Jets and now this one, which feels a bit inexplicable simply because this was a Cleveland game script. And David Njoku got on to a hot start here, but Atlanta had a good 4th down stop early, and then Njoku fumbled. And it's not quite the margin of victory, but if they had converted on those drives or not turned the ball over so quickly, maybe they could have gotten this game going. But We did see Jacoby Brissett with a rushing touchdown, a beautiful pump fake. In this case, because Amari Cooper was tied up with A.J. Terrell, another rising corner, shutdown corner, it was a Donovan Peoples-Jones week. Not a big week, but you can see it's either Peoples-Jones or Cooper. Jacoby Brissett can support one of them. You did see Nick Chubb get a touchdown, another strong game. Every game, Nick Chubb plays a strong game in front of his family down in Georgia. And it looks like the David Njoku breakout is for real, that he's going to continue to be a big part of this pass offense, despite the fumble. We're still waiting for Kareem Hunt to convert, but he's getting the opportunities. So that this is the nature of having Kareem Hunt. This is the nature of the Browns now losing games they should win. Now the Chargers are coming. And when we look at it, okay, you got to win against the Steelers and the Panthers. What's that good for? I'm not sure. Chargers we'll talk about are bouncing back. So again, Cease, it's hard to know which teams are actually good.
You give me some hope with Kenny Pickett. We'll wait on that. Just a second. You're wearing your Peloton shirt, Bloom. I'm going to do a Jess Sims boot camp soon as the show's over, because I got a lot to work out, buddy.
Yeah, we got stuff to work out.
I got a lot to work out.
Dennis is my man there. Dennis is, we jive.
There you go. We're jiving. We're vibing. Falcons, Marcus Mariota, 139, no touchdowns, 1 INT. At least he won. So there you go. Alameda Zacchaeus, 2 for 55. Kyle Pitts, 1 for 25. Why am I talking about Atlanta? 2 for 17 for Drake London. Okay, there you go. Tyler Algier, 10 for 84. Okay, right. Caleb Huntley, 10 for 56, 1 touchdown. Okay, right. Cordell Patterson, 9 for 38, 1 touchdown. Okay, all right. I see how it's going there in Atlanta. And they got the win, Bloom. It just was kind of ugly, except for the ground game.
Yeah, that was the thing. And in some ways, whether it was you're looking for Desmond Ridder or you're looking for Kyle Pitts to get going, this was a terrible result, because by running the ball, by being very committed to the run, no matter who was in the backfield, Atlanta won. And Atlanta is 2-2, and the 2 games they lost, they were in at the end. In fact, they really were the better team than the Saints in week 1. So is Atlanta bad? I don't know. They certainly got the running game going first with Cordell Patterson, and actually was even better with Caleb Huntley and Tyler Algier. Patterson comes in with a knee issue. Now, there was no official injury report on him, but he didn't play after about the 8-9 minute mark of the third quarter. So we'll see what that means. Even Avery Williams was getting in on it. And that was it. Marcus Mariota had an interception. You did have a Cordell Patterson touchdown off of that David Njoku fumble. That's really about it. And I think that kind of recipe, we're going to talk about some offenses, the Bears offense, but some offenses following in the footsteps of the Bears and saying, well, if we only pass the ball 15 or 20 times, that's okay. And that's not okay if you have Drake London. Obviously not okay if you have a Kyle Pitts. It couldn't be going much worse. Now you hope that next week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Falcons have to pass more and can't go into a shell and just run the ball. And then maybe that is what shows us, again, Mariota not good in this game, but they're winning. So you wonder if they're going to make that switch on this day of quarterback switches.
Yes, quarterback switches. Bloom. Oh boy. Speaking of a lot to work out. All right. We'll move on from that one. How about Cowboys and Commanders? That's right, everybody. Get your Cooper Rush rookie cards. I'm seriously scouring eBay because I did a comic book show last weekend, Bloom. And I had some of the card guys, because there were a lot of card guys there. And like they said, with you so much you know about football, why aren't you into cards? I was like, I used to be big into football cards. But I said, everyone go get your Cooper Rush rookie cards. Everyone go get your Skylar Thompson rookie cards. You want some gold in them there hills? Well, you can't stop the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys as they get the win over the Commanders, 25-10. The final score, Carson Wentz, 170, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. I bet the Commanders wish they had Cooper Rush. Jahan Dotson keeps doing it, man. 3 for 4, 143. He's had an amazing game. It's 70 yards to catch, everybody. 3 for 43. That's a little different. It's a little different. 1 receiving touchdown there as well. Curtis Samuel, 4 for 38. Logan Thomas, 5 for 19, I guess. Terry McLaurin, 2 for 15. Antonio Gibson, 13 for 49. We're waiting for Brian Robinson to come back, and we're waiting for the Commanders to perhaps make a quarterback switch.
Yeah, well, these are not the matchups that are good for Carson Wentz, right? We've seen the whole gamut with Carson Wentz, and against teams that get good pressure, you see smoke come out of his ears, and you see problems. So we see this Washington offense. Jahan Dotson did get the touchdown. Curtis Samuel had a good catch right in front of the end zone, didn't quite get both feet down. But otherwise, Carson Wentz couldn't get anything going in the downfield passing game. Like you said, Brian Robinson's going to be back. So what window there was for value of Antonio Gibson, that's going to go away. Terry McLaurin didn't do anything in this one. I think you see Samuel and Logan Thomas at least getting enough targets and receptions to keep their pulse going for next week. But I think 42 pass attempts in this one, about as unproductive as you can be on 42 pass attempts. Now they're going to face Tennessee next week. So we may have the pendulum swing back to the good Wentz and the good Washington passing game. But I'm not sure who's good. I'm pretty sure Washington is not good.
Yeah, not good. Cooper Rush. All right,
Decent.
let's go. Decent. Making some money, Bloom. How many times have we seen this, right?
Yeah.
Back up. He's your Case Keenum of 2022. Except won't write a book that's got a title that's 100 words long. Buy my book. Cooper Rush, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INT. CD Lamb, 6 for 97 and a touch. Michael Gallup, good to see him back. CSU represent 2 for 24 in this one. Noah Brown, 3 for 61. Dalton Schultz did play 3 targets, no catches. Ezekiel Elliott did play 19 for 49, although you couldn't really tell he was playing. 2 for 32, I guess, as a receiver. And Tony Pollard, just when we thought there would be more, there was 8 for 6 on the ground and 1 for 2 as a receiver, but Cooper Rush gets the W. And if you're Dak Prescott, you got a little more pressure now.
Yeah, a little bit. This is great, though. Remember, Cooper Rush was on the practice squad. He was available for any team to pick up. So you see this Cowboys team showing resilience, and 3-1, even though they lost Dak Prescott in the first game. This is going very differently than the last time Prescott went out. Now Prescott's not out for the year, but this team showing, again, a defense forward team. And from a fantasy standpoint, okay, CD Lamb has shown his valuables indestructible. Now that Michael Gallup is back, we're not as into Noah Brown, and the receivers are good enough that we're not as into Dalton Schultz. Now we did see Ezekiel Elliott really take a step forward, at least in terms of workload and usage because of the game script, maybe ahead of Tony Pollard. Pollard remains in that what the heck flex zone, whereas with Elliott, he didn't get the score today. He didn't have a big play. He had a 30-yard or so reception. But if this is the workload he's getting, and then you add the Dak Prescott bump for this offense and this defense being able to get them into game control, ball control kind of game scripts, maybe there's something there. Maybe Elliott is a buy low because this is still a good development for him. We may see Dak Prescott back next week against the Rams, but this is obviously a resilient team and a team that, they're going to have a puncher's chance against everybody. And see, again, in the NFC, who's actually good? Who's actually a team we can count on to show up every week? Okay, other than the Eagles.
Right. And can't you see Cooper Rush winning the Super Bowl? Like, seriously, it's one of those backup quarterback situations where you're like, okay, I'm not predicting it, but like, all right, you give yourself confidence. If your guy goes down again, you can turn to the great Cooper Rush. Let's talk about the great Geno Smith and the great Rashad Penny for sure today as Seattle. I feel like Pete Carroll is trolling Russell Wilson at every single turn. Like, we're just going to let Geno cook. We're just going to let him cook. How about 45 points today? Or 48 points, 48 to 45. Seahawks over the Lions. Geno Smith, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 320 through the air. Fan flipping tastic, but it was a day for Rashad Penny. Rashad Penny, 17 for 151 and 2 touchdowns. Geno also had a rushing touchdown as well. Kenneth Walker, 8 for 29. DK Metcalf, 7 for 149. Tyler Lockett, 6 for 91. Will Dissly, 4 for 39 and a touchdown. And Noah Fant had a touchdown as well, getting those tight ends involved and getting the running backs involved and running the heck out of the ball and chomping your gum and clapping your hands. It was like Pete Carroll's going straight Adam Sessler. Yeah. There you go. Clap those hands.
Yeah, this team is 2-2. Good, I don't know. But you do see Geno Smith showing folks he can play, at least against defenses that are not that difficult to solve. Detroit's defense. And Detroit has that wonderful fantasy combination of a porous defense, but an offense that is good by design based on the offensive line and play calls. We'll get to that. Geno Smith looked outstanding. Will Dissly had his 3rd touchdown of the year. He continues to be a what-the-heck tight end play. Looking at him next week against New Orleans. Lockett and Metcalf. And Metcalf, Jeffrey Okudah, whoever, no one's going to slow him down. This is looking like a team that is starting to find itself. And then you get to Rashad Penny. And Penny was just massive late. And maybe we could have seen this one coming because one of his massive games last year was a 51-29 game against Detroit. I think Detroit actually won that one. But even more points today in this one. A DFS lesson here about looking for those games with that high over-under, games with poor defenses against each other and at least competent offenses. That's what we're seeing here is that Geno Smith is competent. This offense is going to be competent. And again, they're coming down here to New Orleans next week. Really weird that the teams playing in London don't get a week off now. What's that all about? But Seattle will take it as Detroit's defense took the week off.
Yeah, they take the week off, but they're also dealing with injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but they charge back, Bloom. So you give a bunch of credit here to the Lions, and, well, Jared Goff, 4 touchdowns on the day. TJ Hawkinson, 8 for 179 and 2. We were wondering, where's he at? He's there. 7 for 81 for Josh Reynolds and 1 touchdown. No sun god in this one as well. Justin Jackson gets a receiving touchdown here as well. Khalif Raymond, I love Khalif, 3 for 38. Nobody started him. Jamal Williams, you started him, 19 for 108 and 2 touchdowns. Take that. So no DeAndre Swift, no sun god, no problem from a fantasy perspective, Bloom.
Yeah, this is a good offense. Ben Johnson draws up good plays. Jared Goff understands the plays and executes them well. And the offensive line makes the plays run pretty much as designed. Jamal Williams had a 51-yard touchdown run in this one. Didn't really get going otherwise, but did have another short touchdown run, I think, on 4th down. You've had the TJ Hawkinson. See, this is the TJ Hawkinson game we were waiting for. Finally. This is where he finally looks like a top 10 pick. He had an 81-yard catch and run in this one, in addition to everything else he did. And that wasn't even a touchdown. The 81-yard catch and run, though, you saw him a rugged, sturdy guy after the catch. And you cannot come with just this half. I was almost going to say, sorry, Joe, arm tackling.
Half-ass arm tackling.
Yeah, half effort, half measures. And TJ Hawkinson had that game, and so did Josh Reynolds, who's that reliable target. Khalif Raymond got a little banged up in this one. You also had a Tariq Woolen, better pick than Washington Sees, pick 6 in this one, not 5th round, 6th round. And this is just going to be a productive offense. And the defense is going to – I hate it in some ways for Lions fans because we're in the same mode as last year. We're saying, well, you're close in these games. You're showing something. You're making steps. But this defense, losing Tracy Walker might have been a big deal. Aaron Glenn, who's kind of an head coach candidate going into the year, maybe losing some luster. And we'll see. They're going to face – see, you want to talk about revenge games. We say revenge game a lot. Detroit against the Matt Patricia New England Patriots. That is truly a revenge game. I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Get your pencils ready.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Matt Patricia, not a good guy, allegedly. Titans, not a good team, allegedly. I don't know. But they beat the Colts, who now on a short week have to go travel to play the Broncos. More on that in a little bit. It is a Broncos show. 24-17 is the final score. My God, Bloom. It's the AFC South. It's mind-numbing, buddy. Let's talk about Ryan Tannehill, though. A couple of touchdowns, 137 yards. If you're starting Ryan Tannehill, I just ask why. Like, why? Derrick Henry, 22, 114, 1 rushing touchdown. Chiggy Okonkwo, I love him. Receiving touchdown, Bloom. Robert Woods, 4 for 30 and a touch there as well. Derrick Henry at 33 yards as well. I'd rather talk about what you're eating behind the scenes and taking yourself off mute. Very good, Bloom. Very professional. Seasoned professional. I'd rather talk about what you're eating than talk about Titans and Colts.
Yeah, it's a nice pizza with some banana peppers from our garden. It's so great to eat stuff that you grow in your yard. Anyway.
Self-sufficiency, everybody. That's for another show. We got to start that one sooner than we thought.
Yeah, and it tastes so much better. And Derrick Henry's looking good and really getting involved in the passing game. So in the passing game, when he has a little bit of a runway, looks like Derrick Henry that we know and love. And we did see him get a runaway in the running game a few times. And he has bounced back spectacularly. And because it's week 4 and we don't know who's actually good and who's not, well, I think Jacksonville's pretty good, but Tennessee says we're not bad, or don't put us in the bad column yet. Winning Indianapolis, you did see, again, like you said, Okonkwo getting that touchdown. You also saw Woods getting a touchdown, and maybe Woods is on the way up here, as we saw Traylon Burks actually wiped a Derrick Henry touchdown off the board with a hold that preceded the other rookie Okonkwo's touchdown. And then Burks carted off from the sideline in a walking boot. I didn't mention, by the way, DK Metcalf took the cart to the bathroom He had to go number 2, I think, in the middle of the game. So don't tell Stink about that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he just pooped his pants.
Exactly. So anyway, Tennessee's still alive. They got enough points early. They had bend but don't break defense. It's Tennessee. And again, they're going to go to Washington. That should be a win if they're actually not a bad team because they're facing a bad team.
Bad team versus bad team. Jonathan Taylor's a bad man, but only 20 for 42 today. All right. Mo Alley Cox, 6 for 85 and 2 receiving touchdown. Alex Pierce, 4 for 80. Kylan Granson, 4 for 62. They're involving the tight ends, ladies and gentlemen. Paris Campbell, 4 for 43 in this one. Jelani Woods, 1 for 33. Oh. Michael Pittman, 3 for 31. Oh, why can't I read? Anyway, I never learned how to read. Matt Ryan, 356, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. And the Colts, well, they got a get-right game. 1-2-1.
Yeah.
Watch them be 2-2-1 after Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see. Fumble problems, a theme for Thursday, maybe. Fumbling. Matt Ryan, a lot of fumbles. Matt Ryan, a lot of fumbles. And probably the difference in this game was the Matt Ryan fumbles, because otherwise Matt Ryan was slinging it to the tight ends. Mo Alley Cox with a big game, including the 2 touchdowns. Kylan Granson, and even Jelani Woods with the catch and run down to the 5. So you're seeing the tight end working in this offense. And that's about it. You did see them spraying the ball around in the passing game. Michael Pittman almost had a touchdown, but otherwise didn't do much. You saw Alec Pierce getting involved as the downfield target. You still see Paris Campbell mixing in there. But what you did not see is a big runs from Jonathan Taylor, who was really contained here. We thought it was the Indy run defense who had contained every running game they had faced that was going to be the tough defense to crack here, but it was actually Tennessee. And Jonathan Taylor comes out with an ankle issue that is bad enough that there will be testing. So we could see Sanaim Hines. We could see Deion Jackson, and maybe revenge game, Philip Lindsay getting a call up from the practice squad. So maybe you could talk to Philip Lindsay this week. Storylines abound. And I think you're right, Cecil, framing this game already between Indy and Denver as 2 teams that are sliding and trying to just grab a root or a tree branch or something. You're sliding down to stop sliding any farther.
Yeah, I wish you had Saquon Barkley. 20-12, the final score. It's Giants and Bears next. Week 4 recap here on the Audible. And, well, all right, it's a lot of Saquon on the other side, Bloom. But first, we have to talk about Chicago. Yes, we are contractually obligated. But Khalil Herbert, I love Khalil Herbert. 19 for 77 for Herbert. Darnell Mooney, 4 for 94. He's back. We're back. 1 for 24 for Herbert as well, so going over 100 all-purpose yards. You like seeing that. Well, yep, 101. Yeah, don't make me do math. Justin Fields, 174 yards, no touchdowns, no INTs. And I don't want to bring up Cole Kmet, or I'll just start making people feel bad about themselves. Right. Anyway, 20-12, Bears, whatever. They didn't get it done.
Yeah. Got to score touchdowns to win the NFL. 4 field goals, that's great. You got to score touchdowns. So they fall to 2-2. Again, the Bears are 2-2. And Justin Fields actually made a few strides forward. Was good on his rushing attempts. Didn't make any big mistakes. Still doesn't matter for fantasy football. So that's where we're at. Khalil Herbert does, and he got the workload you were looking for. Again, they're not able to finish the drives. Darnell Mooney is good at football. Beautiful sprawling catch on his 56-yarder. Also got in the mix with 16, 18-yard catches. You just want to see that. Just keep giving him chances to make plays. So he still remains a what the heck flex. You're going to see him against Minnesota next week, though. And that's it. Richie James had a fumbled punt that helped set up one of the field goals. That's the thing. When you're driving for field goals, even against the Giants, who didn't have a quarterback at the end of this one, it's not good enough to win.
Yeah, Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, both in, doesn't matter. Daniel Bellinger, 3 for 23. Okay. Saquon Barkley, 31 for 146. And Jones did have 2 rushing touchdowns, of course. But with Barkley, it's like, can you just do everything? Because no one, hey, man, I wonder what they're going to do. No Shepard out there. It's going to be a little Richie James. No. Should I pick up David Stills? No. Is Kenny Golladay going to get in there? No. It's just no.
Yeah.
Except with Saquon, no. It's yes.
Unless it's Saquon Barkley. Right? See, till the end of time, no matter how bad the offense is, if you say, oh, I don't know about that running back because the offense is bad, they're going to say Saquon Barkley. You're going to say, well, that's just about Saquon Barkley, right? And maybe it is. The most valuable player in fantasy football? Maybe. Certainly, I want to congratulate everybody who had that faith. And I'm going to put a shout out here to Dwayne McFarland, doing awesome stuff all over the place, that he made sure to point out to folks that his injury last year, Barkley, he was actually getting ramped up before his injury, and it was a fluke injury, and we're seeing as long as he stays healthy. Well, he's the leader of a 3-1 team. And, okay, those wins weren't quality wins, really. But still, wins are wins, and that's what Brian Daboll is building in team culture and confidence. And sees the favorite game everyone's going to play from here on out is where will Saquon Barkley play next year? How much money will he get? Knock on wood that he stays healthy, because I think he is showing. Dave Gettleman somewhere, it's like, see, that's why you take him number 4. If he's all you got, you can still win if you're playing the Justin Fields Bears. They're going to place Green Bay in London. We're going to send Davis Webb to London. These poor people, they're going to have to watch that game.
There's like cop bars, Bloom. That where like all cops get together off duty.
Yeah.
There needs to be like a ex-GM or NFL executive bar. You know what I mean? Because then Gettleman would be sitting around. This isn't alcohol, just so I'm clear. But he'd be sitting around drinking his Moscow Mule, being like, they'd only listen to me. They'd only listened to me. If you only listen to the Audible, it's Cecil, Lammey, and Sigmund Bloom. How about those Eagles 29-21 over Jacksonville? Actually, how about Jacksonville? You know what I mean? Like, I just like seeing good football. Is this a Broncos rant? It might be, Bloom, but I just want to see good football. For the love of God, I want to see Nathaniel Hackett get fired. I mean, what? I want to see good football. And when you watch Jacksonville, hey, Doug Peterson, good job, buddy. Good job, buddy. Because Jacksonville's not pushover. No. Now, the Eagles get the win, but at least Jacksonville's interesting to watch. Anyway, Trevor Lawrence, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INTs. Christian Kirk, 2 for 60. Jamal Agnew, just like we thought, 4 for 50 and 2 touchdowns. Dan Arnold, 1 for 26. There you go. Marvin Jones Jr., nothing. Zay Jones, nothing. Nothing ever. Travis Etienne, 8 for 32. James Robinson, 8 for 29. Oh, so there you go. But at least Jacksonville made this one entertaining, Bloom.
Yeah. Speaking of entertaining, Cecil, I forgot to mention they had a throwback day, like legacy. I think they call it Legacy Day for the Bears and the Giants. They wore like 80s uniforms and early 90s uniforms.
Yeah.
Did you see who performed at halftime? Funky Cole Medina.
Oh,
yeah.
Tone Loc. The kids don't even know Tone Loc.
They don't know Tone Loc anymore. They do know Trevor Lawrence, though.
The wild thing.
Wild thing. Let's do the wild thing. Yeah. The Eagles did the wild thing in this one. And what's wild about this game, speaking of wild, is that the Jags jumped out to a 14-0 lead in this game. It was kind of interesting. It seemed like it was going to be a really interesting game. And then you just saw who the superior team was. And it's okay. I mean, this is one of those, I think a lot of teams are going to look at the games against the Eagles, assuming they keep playing like this, as that yardstick game to see where you're at in your evolution, because this is a team in the Jaguars that are making steps. And the conditions were against Trevor Lawrence, 4 fumbles, 4 lost fumbles. So when your quarterback loses 4 fumbles and you only lose by a score, okay, you see where you can improve, and you just work on, dip the ball in the water in the practices. I don't know. You saw Jamal Agnew in place of Zay Jones doing some nifty things after the catch, and that just accentuates how much that Zay Jones role is worth. Christian Kirk didn't do much, but it was that kind of day for this offense. The thing that we're going to have to evaluate is Travis Etienne and James Robinson both get 8 carries, and I think Etienne actually had more snaps. So it looked like it was Robinson's backfield. Maybe against the Texans next week. We'll get to the Texans' performance today. Maybe it's a game script thing. Maybe it's when the Jags are closing out wins, and when they're not, then they want the explosiveness of Etienne out there. Just something to watch. But this team didn't give up despite all the ways that they shot themselves in the foot. They were just facing a superior team. They're definitely a better team than Houston. They look like the best team in their division at this point, and this is the kind of game, Cease, that will help them in the long run.
In the long run, the Philadelphia Eagles will be in the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jason,
if they played it next week.
Yeah, for sure. 204 yards, no touchdowns, 1 INT for Jalen Hurts. Also 16 for 38 and 1 rushing touchdown. Miles Sanders, 2,734 and 2 rushing touchdowns. He didn't score at all last year, Bloom. He didn't score a single touchdown last year. Him, Kenny Golladay, and Jerry Jeudy. That Broncos rant's just waiting, baby. Kenneth Gainwell, 5 for 19 and a rushing touchdown. A.J. Brown, 5 for 95. Dallas Goedert, 5 for 72. Miles Sanders also had 22 yards receiving. Devontae Smith, Slim Reaper, 3 for 17 in this one. So not much else from anyone receiving wise because they didn't need it because they ran 50 times and, of course, won.
They won. Yeah. Cecil, it's funny. You talk about the Broncos rant. It sounds like when a volcano is like rumbling. The rocks are starting to come down the side of the volcano. Even in our household, as we're watching the Denver Vegas game unfold, my wife, my lovely wife, the love of my life, Kate, says, I feel bad, but when I watch Denver's doing bad, I just think about Cecil ranting. I just think about a Cecil rant. So everybody knows the rant signal is out. We're not there yet, but keep listening. I got to mention again, Andre Cisco with that pick six. Hurts was a little late on the throw. Hurts is still not a perfect passer or an ideal passer by any means. He still has some flaws, and you saw it on that one. You saw pressure on fourth down. The Jags make a fourth down stop early. This is going to be great now. Even there was a Dallas Goedert penalty that wiped a A.J. Brown touchdown off the board, but then Hurts says, I'll run it in, no problem. And it made it, these are the floor games for Jalen Hurts in bad conditions, 18 points, 20 points. But this was a Miles Sanders game, and they relied on him, 27 carries. We haven't seen that in a long time, and he looked good. And you can see that, just like Byron Leftwich has told us, the point isn't to be balanced, it's to be multiple. And they went back into the power running mode they had when they were kind of trying to protect the team from Jalen Hurts passing. They don't have to do that as much as you saw Goddard and Brown have solid games. Slim Reaper, you're just going to have these ups and downs. He was the highest scoring wide receiver last week. You're going to take some floor games. Some things they're going to have to think about here. Jordan Mailata, the left tackle, got hurt. Darius Slay got hurt. But they took advantage of the opportunities that were made more by Trevor Lawrence's miscues than their defense, but their defense certainly didn't make anything too easy on the Jags. I did see Kenneth Gainwell get in and get a touchdown here as part of the red zone package, got a target, and then got the run in on the draw. And just to remind everybody how good Philadelphia is, this is going to be another game next week probably where they don't have to play in the second half because they're going to Arizona.
Jets and Steelers up next, Bloom, and they're not going back to Mitchell, are they? Are they? Are they?
No.
Just lie to me. Lie to me. That's all I care about. It's on my feelings. Don't run away from your feelings. Well, my feeling is Mitchell Trubisky sucks. And the faster they got to the kid and Kenny Pickett, the better. Why? Because he can get these stupid 3 interception games out of his system. That's just me, Bloom. What the hell do I know? But I'm getting ahead of myself because Zach Wilson returned. 252 yards, touchdowns, 2 INTs for Wilson upon his return. Corey Davis, 5 for 74 and a touch. Elijah Moore, 3 for 53. Okay, Tyler Conklin, 3 for 52 in this one. Garrett Wilson, 2 for 41. Okay, Breece Hall, 17 for 66 and a rushing touchdown. And Michael Carter, 9 for 15. Breece Hall had 2 for 12, by the way. And Zach Wilson had a receiving touchdown as well. A little razzle-dazzle from Robert Saleh and company as they traveled to whatever the hell Heinz Field is called now.
Yeah.
And they get the win.
Yeah. Someone actually fell from the escalator and died today at whatever they call Heinz Field. That's
really?
sad.
That happened at a concert over the summer at Mile High.
Oh, 2 people at fish shows have taken gainers off of the top deck in arenas. Anyway.
Wow. Everybody be careful.
They must be watching the Broncos, right?
Something.
So this game, there was a story about a young quarterback giving franchise fans hope that it could change, but it's Zach Wilson? Zach Wilson? Yeah, Zach Wilson. Steelers look like they had this game under control, and Zach Wilson got dialed in. You saw get a field goal off of Mitchell Trubisky, interception, which was really off of a Deontay Johnson drop, by the way. That one's not on Trubisky, and you didn't see much going Johnson's way for the rest of the game, by the way. You did see Zach Wilson catch a touchdown from Braxton Berrios. Then Wilson threw almost a pick six. Wilson had an interception to close the first half. Then you saw Wilson pick it back up, and you see that Corey Davis is his guy. We saw this last year. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. If Zach Wilson's playing okay, there's a pulse there. But it's Corey Davis who has the best chemistry with Zach Wilson now, and it's Breece Hall's backfield. Now, Michael Carter is still going to play a role. He was still in there in some key junctures, making some big plays for this team. But you see Breece Hall, you see all the physical gifts that made him the first running back off the board. You see the power, you see the speed. And this is a team now that we can't take quite as lightly. The Steelers had beaten the Jets in the regular season in Pittsburgh, all but one game. Now it's all but 2 games, and the Jets, again, feeling plucky. You're going to get Miami next week.
The puckish grin goes Kenny Pickett. I don't know what that means, Bloom, but let's talk about Pickett. And again, the kids just make mistakes, 3 picks. But there was a spark. There was some inspiration. George Pickens, he doesn't know what he's doing yet, but he's really damn good. Wait till he figures it out. 6 for 102 in this one. Pat Fryermuth, 7 for 85 in this contest. Deontay Johnson, 2 for 11. Oh, Najee Harris, 18 for 74. Kenny Pickett with a couple of rushing touchdowns. So again, the kid brought some spark to the field. It just wasn't enough to overcome those mistakes.
No. And again, one of them was a Deontay Johnson mistake that led to an interception. There was also an almost incredible hookup between Trubisky and Johnson on a touchdown. Maybe like 3 inches of Deontay Johnson's foot was out of bounds. And then you saw Trubisky take a roughing the passer penalty on a Hail Mary, which led to a 59-yard field goal by Chris Boswell. Could have ended up being the difference. But then we go into the locker room and we find out. See, I love it that people think of us. Thanks, everybody. I mean, seriously, it means something. It actually really means something when people say, I thought of you when they said Pickett's coming in. Kenny. And you did see it invigorate the offense, and the Steelers took control of the game for a little bit. You saw Pickett score twice on sneaks, and you also saw Pickett push it. You saw him really, and that's okay, because you'd much rather have a quarterback that has to learn to rein it in than have a quarterback who needs a transplant of nerve, a transplant of trying to make NFL windows, make them work for receivers. And when you have George Pickens, he can make them work. So what have we been saying? Well, let's wait on Pickens until Pickett is in. Pickett to Pickens, in effect. Pat Fryermuth, in effect. So you can see who the players that are prominent in Kenny Pickett's vision. And you hope that even though Najee Harris didn't do much, that if this offense is invigorated, then that's going to help him for fantasy. See, if there's a reason to put Mitchell Trubisky back in, it's because next week they have to go to Buffalo.
Good luck. And look at the weeks after that too. It doesn't get any easier for the kid.
That's why everyone said the bye week. But right. I mean, in some ways, it makes me feel better that Mike Tomlin said that's enough, and it almost worked.
Hey everybody! Isaiah Pacheco's looking good. Tariq
Doctor.
Woolen had a pick 6. Oh, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm losing my mind right now. It's not time yet for the Broncos rant. You'll know. Oh, you'll know. But thank God Buffalo beat the Ratbirds of Baltimore 23-20, the final score. That is correct. The Buffalo Bills come charging back because nobody, and I mean nobody, circles the wagons like those Buffalo Bills. So let's get into it with Josh Allen and company, Bloom. And Allen with 213, 1 touchdown, 1 INT, 11 for 7 in a rushing touchdown. Devin Singletary, 11 for 49. They just don't like running the ball. 25 carries as a team, 11 of them, almost half Eddie, were from their quarterbacks. Stephon Diggs, 4 for 62. Singletary also 4 for 47 as a receiver. Dawson Knox, 3 for 40. Isaiah McKenzie, 4 for 21 in the receiving touchdown there. So you see it with Buffalo. Man, they give you a little heart condition watching this team. But late, they come through and they get the win.
These wins are so important for this team, playing in poor conditions on the road, everything going against them. I think this one was 20-3 at one point, a 17-point deficit against this Ravens team, exactly the kind of team they're going to face in the playoffs. This is big. This is really big. And Josh Allen had to be resourceful. Both quarterbacks had to be resourceful in this game. You saw the similar conditions as you saw in that Philly-Jacksonville game. And see, this was almost like a college game. It was like, what can these quarterbacks produce? What can these quarterbacks improvise and create in these conditions against spirited defenses? Josh Allen was terrific in this game in so much as he found a way to make a play when his team needed that play. You did see early on, a pick by Humphrey, a Singletary fumble, but then Isaiah McKenzie gets a touchdown right before the half. That gets them going. The running game gets going. And again, you're seeing Devin Singletary really assert himself in this backfield and at least have running back 2 flex value. And then you're starting to see just Josh Allen and his poise. And it's really if there's one thing that Josh Allen has made progress in, is you could tell that mentally in his first 2 years, when the play was really on him, when it was on him to do something, he would get a little bit frantic. But shades of Wyoming, when he would just put too much on himself. That's what he had to do
for the Cowboys. He's the only one. I know they probably had 5 pros from there.
Right,
Chase
right.
Roulier and Tanner Gentry and
The
Jacob Hollister, and
Hollisters,
I'm missing Brian Hill,
running back
right?
Brian Hill,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see now when he's in those situations, even when everything in the game, it's the same as the Kansas City game in the playoffs last year. He has clear vision and clear thinking in those moments. He trusts himself. He trusts the data that his brain is giving him, and he acts on it. He makes good decisions, and it's really something to behold. You see Stephon Diggs making some plays here. Gabriel Davis, maybe he's not 100%. And this wasn't a great offensive day. This wasn't a great offensive game. Jamison Crowder went with an ankle, by the way. We saw a little more Khalil Shakir. Also, Isaiah McKenzie was evaluated for a concussion during this one. So again, Singletary playing more of a role. But that's the other thing you can see about this team is more than being multiple. I think this is a team that it's kind of like when you're on one of those road rally races and you have all the extra spare parts you need. So if something breaks down, if you get in a little accident or something, you can patch it together and keep it going. And that's what Josh Allen does for this offense. And I think it's what it does for this team. And again, they're facing Pittsburgh next week. Oh boy. But, see, I can see it. And it's just going to be a shame if this team doesn't win a Super Bowl during the Josh Allen era, because you see that confidence. We remember the quarterbacks we watched growing up, Cease, where you just felt like, hey, you've got John Elway, you've got Dan Marino, these kinds of quarterbacks that you think no matter what the score is, we've got a chance. And that's the confidence that Josh Allen gives this Buffalo team.
Confidence is what it is all about, my friend. Okay, we will move on to the Ravens side of things, and I'm sitting there at Orlando Franklin's house. 50,000 square feet.
Wow. Is that a mall? Did he buy a mall and turn it into his house?
It's like had to take a segue from one side to the other. Right? So there you go. Watching with Clifton Dawson, Bloom. You may remember Clifton Dawson, undrafted for the Colts from Harvard, and someone that you, my friend, saw at the Texas First Nation game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
So we were talking about Lamar Jackson, like, what's the effect of not paying him? You know what I mean? Just like it's another thing for Baltimore, and we're all for Jackson getting his money, but it's like, okay, you could have gotten that done, could have gotten it out of the way, because Jackson's out there trying to do too much at times. But 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. J.K. Dobbins gets the receiving touchdown. Dobbins also out there getting a rushing touchdown, 13 for 41 and a touch. Jackson was 73 yards rushing. Justice Hill, 45 yards rushing. Devin Duvernay, 4 for 51. And there you go. Mandrew, 2 for 15. Oh. So there you go, Bloom. But the Ravens fall short. And again, the conversation was more around, I can't believe Baltimore is going to collapse again.
Yeah, well, you saw Lamar Jackson drive them all the way down at 2020. You could have taken a chip shot, Justin Tucker field goal. I think they did the right thing, though. I think they did the right thing. They went for it. And really what made it backfire in a way was that Lamar Jackson threw an interception. Now, it's not a bad thing, because what I really hate to see is when on 4th down, a player will just throw the ball away. Give your guys a chance. Try something. And actually, the play was open and Jordan Poyer came across the back of the end zone to make that terrific interception. So instead of getting the Bills backed up in their own end zone, the ball comes out to the 20 and Josh Allen says, I got this. And it wasn't a great day for the Ravens offense. One of the touchdowns was set up a short field by the interception. You did see J.K. Dobbins get 2 touchdowns, 1 on a reception. You did see Lamar Jackson get free a few times as a runner, but not a lot. This is a really, really good Bills defense. Okay. This is a Bills defense that is also going to help them win games, even though Josh Allen can probably handle it on his own. You had another interception earlier in this game by Jordan Poyer, by the way, off of interception. And much like Josh Allen, you just saw Lamar Jackson grinding out whatever yards he could. It was not a pretty offensive game, but you had 2 quarterbacks that almost by sheer will and their gifts and their steely intensities that we're going to move the ball on this bad passing day. Part of that's Devin Duvernay, who is complicating things. It's not just Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman, who limped off, by the way, in this one. Devin Duvernay is going to be a bigger part of this passing game than we expected. Dobbins' touchdowns were more of a byproduct of the offense, but you'll take it. Justice Hill, by the way, in this one, running well and then hurting his hamstring and limping for as many extra yards as he could after he did it in the middle of a run. I mean, you love to see that, but you hate that. for the Ravens backfield. You hate that for Hill, who was just starting to break out, getting a lot of praise from John Harbaugh. And speaking of, is this team good or not? Baltimore and Cincinnati play next week.
All right. Some interesting games, and then Chargers Texans. So they can't all be great, right? And the Chargers, well, at least the Texans kind of charged back. I don't know.
Something.
Can I say that? Yeah, whatever.
They text back?
They texted back. Don't text me, bro. 34-24, the final score. Chargers get the win. Justin Herbert, 340, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Gerald Everett, 5 for 61 and a touch. Austin Eckler, 6 for 49 and a touch. And also 2 rushing touchdowns, 13 for 60. So they got that working today. Nobody does much else in that backfield, including Sony Michel, 6 for 11. Mike Williams, 7 for 120 in this contest. And then, well, Josh Palmer was out there, a catch for 25 yards. But really, it was all about Eckler, all about Big Mike, and a dash of Gerald Everett to get the win.
Yeah, you saw Justin Herbert. He was off the injury report. And I know we don't expect teams to be totally straight with us, but the fact that he was off of the injury report should have been our clue that he's just going to be back to being Justin Herbert. And he's facing the Texans, even without Keenan Allen. It was going to be good. And you know, if it was going to be good, it was going to be a lot of Mike Williams. And Gerald Everett, with no Donald Parham in the picture, Everett made a nice contested catch, touchdown in this one. Herbert keeps going to him, but it was all about Austin Eckler. This was our correction game, right? They weren't giving him red zone opportunities. The offense wasn't clicking. In this game, he got the red zone opportunities. He got the opportunities that he could convert, and he did. And this helped. He was giving you the high floor with the 6, 7, 8 catches a week in PPR leagues. Now there's that ceiling game and how much difference a week makes for this offense, for this team. Smoke was coming out of the hood a few weeks ago, and they just lost Joey Bosa, and they just lost Rashawn Slater. Going and face, don't tell the Colts this, but going and facing the Texans can be something that gets your team right. Josh Palmer not doing as much. And again, this offense was more through Williams and Eckler and Everett today. And again, are these teams good? Are these teams not good? The Chargers going to face the Browns next week.
Davis Mills, 246, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. It was Brandon Cook, 7 for 57 and a touch. And Rex Burkhead, 5 for 39 and a touch. Jordan Akins did play, 2 for 33. Nobody starts him. OJ Howard, that thing's gone, 2 for 27. It never was there. Damian Pierce, 14 for 131 and a touchdown, including that big 75-yarder. 6 catches, 8 yards. Don't worry about that. 6 catches, PPR, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't look at the man behind the curtain. But anyway, the Texans did charge back. Like, they just didn't lay down. So, you know, steps, Bloom, steps. So what is it? Big losses become close losses, which become close wins, which become big wins. Yeah. Right? Is that the old saying?
That's the speech I'm giving all my fantasy teams this week, Cease. You did see Damian Pierce with that 75-yard run. Pierce is good. You know, whatever his share was with Florida, whatever his measurables or draft capital was, he's good. And they're going to try to make him the centerpiece of the offense. So you did good if you took Damian Pierce in your fantasy draft. You did see, Khalil Mack with a big sack here. You saw Nasir Adderley with an interception. But you saw Davis Mills, even when he was down 20, continuing to throw punches, continuing to try to get his team back in the game, and he basically did at the end of this one. You saw Cooks finish a drive. You saw Rex Burkhead finish a drive. They recovered a fumble on special teams to make it 27-24, and then the Chargers said, that's enough of that. And again, the Texans, they're pesky. And Cease, no matter what the records were, no matter what the personnel looked like, when Houston plays Jacksonville, nobody knows what's going to happen. I think I kind of know what's going to happen, but I'm going to watch next week just to see.
Just in case. Cardinals Panthers. We're almost there, everyone. Cardinals Panthers is the next game that we are going to talk about in the Audible Week 4 recap. So let's start on the Cardinals side. And with that, we then talk about Kyler Murray. 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Marquise Brown, 6 for 88 and a touchdown. That's so pretty. You want to go back and watch it 100 times. So pretty. White man can't jump, right? Doesn't Wesley Snipes say that? So pretty. So pretty. Zach Ertz, 6 for 47 and 1. Trey McBride, 3 for 24. Okay. Rondell Moore, 3 for 11. All right. Greg Dortch, 1 for 6. That didn't work. James Conner, 15-55, and Kyler Murray also had a rushing touchdown there as well. Benjamin 5 for 36. So the Cardinals get the win, and against Carolina, didn't have much to do.
Yeah, I think the stat. Here's the stat for you. The Matt Rule Panthers are 1-26 when the opponent scores more than 17 points. 1-26 with 24 straight losses.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a win for the Cardinals, but what can you really take out of that? The offense went through Marquise Brown again with that beautiful touchdown catch. Zach Ertz, who's just grinding out the easy yards, the tough yards for them. Grinding out easy yards, that doesn't make any sense. James Conner getting touches, but not converting the touches into a lot of points. He actually had a Frankie Louvu pick six here, and he almost had a pick six earlier this year. So the Panthers had the aid of a defensive touchdown here, and it still wasn't really close. 2-2. So somewhere, Michael Bidwell's, I see that Keim and Kingsbury extension. I knew exactly what I was doing. Well, I don't know if it's going to look like that against the Eagles.
Nope. Panthers, if we have to. Baker Mayfield. I was sitting there. I was sitting there watching the game, and I was like, imagine seeing Baker and Josh Allen, and then being like, you know what?
That's the one I want. Yeah,
we need that guy. Yeah,
analytics, right?
Yeah, there you go. Whew. 197, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. Matt Rule. Is Nathaniel Hackett the Matt Rule of the AFC?
Right.
I think he might be. Christian McCaffrey, 9 for 81 and a touchdown there. 8 for 27 on the ground for Christian. I was just glad he was out there, Bloom. Honestly, I didn't know if he would be. DJ Moore, 6 for 50. Is that still a thing? Robbie Anderson better not be a thing. Why did anyone ever draft Ian Thomas? Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all about Christian and a dash to DJ. It's good to see DJ get it done. He's a good player, man. I just feel bad for the Panthers and Panthers fans because, well, they're just not a good team.
I just wish Sam Darnold was healthy so we could look forward to Sam Darnold starting a game to see how that would go. I mean, I think that's where we would be at this point, is this offense is just the engine's not going to start. It's just not going to start. And you did see finally throwing the ball to Christian McCaffrey, finally making a beautiful twisting catch for a touchdown. So McCaffrey was good for you in fantasy because they finally started throwing to him. And okay, yeah, like you said, DJ Moore, you got 11 points in PPR leagues. You're like, 11 points. That's not why you drafted DJ Moore. And that's it. I mean, this offense it's Ben and McAdoo. Again, all of these things are somewhat foreseeable, right? Nobody wants to go and be the offensive coordinator, play caller for Matt Rule. They can only get Ben McAdoo. They have Baker Mayfield. Nobody wanted Baker Mayfield. The Cleveland had to pay some of his salary, get him off the roster. David Tepper thinks yelling at people is going to solve things and just trying the latest reject quarterback. Who's going to be the reject quarterback he picks up next year? Right? It's just bad, all around bad. And San Francisco is at least good enough to, I think, continue to make this bad next week.
I'm not going to say reject quarterback, but doesn't Cooper Rush at Carolina sound like a thing?
Sure.
Maybe it's because Dallas got Will
Maybe
Ferrell.
Jacoby Brissett's next stop.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. So, like, hey, you want to be the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers? Go win 3 games before the film's out on you.
Right, or be in section 103, row C, seat 4. You're the new quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
There you go. Packers 24, Patriots 27, and this one had to go all the way to overtime to get that result. So we are here to break it down, and the Patriots have to go through a couple of things here. First off, we have Brian Hoyer starting. Mac Jones was never going to start. I can't believe Belichick. Well, I guess I shouldn't. It's Belichick, whatever. I could totally believe it. I don't know if he's not going to play. Then Brian Hoyer gets banged up. Here comes Bailey Zappi. He threw for 7,000 million yards at Western Kentucky. He's got a shiny helmet, and he's not good at football. 10 of 15 for 99 yards, 1 touchdown, no INTs. I know. It's greatest ever. I love fantasy analysts, Bloom. I'm just in such a mood. I'll just go there. I don't even care. I love fantasy analysts that actually don't watch football, that just go to the backup and be like, the next man up. It's the next man up. Pick him up. This ain't Dumb and Dumber. All right. You're not driving in the shaggin' wagon, and you're not just picking up hitchhikers on the side of the damn road. This is called having a job and being good at it. Not just worried about Twitter engagement farming. I'm a big deal on Twitter. That means you're an ass. Okay?
Ooh.
So for all the people that are like, just get the backup, it's the next backup. The backup has to be good.
Yeah.
It's coming, Bloom. It's coming. Yeah, Damian Harris, 18 for 86 and a touchdown. There you go. Ramondre Stevenson, 14 for 66. Nelson Aguilar, 3 for 46. Devontae Parker, 2 for 24 and a touchdown. And let's talk about the Patriots before we get to the Packers. And well, some good things and a little love out there for Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, really spirited effort by the Patriots. They played way above their heads in this one with Bailey Zappi in there. But yeah, nothing's happening in the passing game. You already know that, right? Brian Hoyer going down early. But the running backs keeping this offense viable, and they can run the ball. Maybe that's what the Patricia Judge offense is all about. We're going to be able to run the ball. Doesn't matter. We have a jugs machine back there at quarterback. Jug machine that throws at Darnell Mooney is actually pretty good. Maybe the Panthers could look into that. So they're going to run the ball, and they're going to have Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris grinding it out. And really, it was better than leaving Bailey Zappi back there to be decapitated by Rashawn Gary. So they stayed in this game, and they played with a lot of intensity on both sides of the ball. If there is a moral victory, this is a moral victory for the Patriots. But, you look at the other teams in the AFC, they're not going to be able to hang with their quarterback play. Again, though, they get that true revenge game with Detroit coming to town next week.
Mm-hmm. All right. Green Bay side, and lots of love for Romeo. Where art thou, Romeo? 5 for 47 and a touchdown for Romeo Dobbs. Alan Lazard, 6 for 116 in this one. Robert Tonyan, 2 for 22 and a touch. Randall Cobb, I hope you're not starting him, 3 for 42. Christian Watson gets a rushing touchdown. There you go. A.J. Dillon, 17 for 73 and a catch for 11 yards. Aaron Jones is good at football, 16 for 110, and then 3 catches for 5 yards. Aaron Rodgers, 251, 2 up and 1 down in this one. It took overtime, but they win, and they might be figuring some things out with some of their receivers, specifically that kid Romeo. He's a heck of a player.
Yeah, and you saw a pick 6. This is when this game got interesting, right? You thought, the Packers are going to cruise, especially with Brian Hoyer out. Then Aaron Rodgers throws a pick 6. I think it was Jonathan Jones with the terrific job running the route better than Alan Lazard. But Rodgers goes back to Lazard. Rodgers goes to Romeo Dobbs, as you said, getting the short catches, but the touchdown and looking viable here. And then Aaron Jones looking fantastic. Two-step. Over 100 yards. You saw them going to A.J. Dillon to get the carries late in overtime to set up the game-winning field goal, and it wasn't pretty. But I guess, again, this lesson in this NFL 2022, Pete Rozelle is smiling somewhere as any win's a good win. Any win is a good win because just about anybody can beat anybody in this one, and anybody that Green Bay is going to face again is going to be the New York Giants with Davis Webb, Matt Barkley, the jugs machine that was throwing to Darnell Mooney, somebody at quarterback.
Somebody somewhere help us all. And for the love of God, I'm just going to do it right now, Bloom.
Yeah.
Right here on this show. I may just officially retire and hand you my keys for the Broncos. This is my key to the Broncos.
Right.
Take it. Take it. I don't need it. I don't need it if I have to go out there and hear Nathaniel Hackett lie about any decision that he makes on the field ever. Whatsoever. Josh McDaniels outcoaches Nathaniel Hackett, and it's not even close. And think about that for a second. Josh McDaniels, who had not won a game, who has changed behind the scenes. I've talked to enough people to know that, but still is an aloha, is still that guy nobody wants to root for. And he outcoached Happy Baby Fun Star. Like, I don't need a head coach that knows every Star Wars reference. In fact, the more that I think about it, I actually don't like that. I don't want a coach that is all excited about everything and not actually good at his job. I don't want a coach that ruins Russell. Pete Carroll's out there scoring 50 with Geno Smith. Nathaniel Hackett cannot get Russell Wilson going. Russ has to do it himself. And he's done it himself now a little bit. And there is some, do you want some tea, Bloom?
Ooh,
do you want some tea? Because I'm just going to say, I'm just going to tell it all. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Except for about the people on the team affiliates, because they get all hurt and they get butt hurt and upset anytime you talk about them. Don't say state sponsored. Oh, whatever. Here's the thing. Russ is worried about the reputation he has as a me guy. I've said, Russ, don't worry about that. Not to Russ, obviously. But I've said, don't worry about being a me guy. Go out there and be all the me you can be. Is that an Army commercial, right? Be everything you can be. Be all the me you can be, because here's what it is. Here's what it is. It's ready to ride. Okay? That's what the God blessed shirt says. And sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. And no, I haven't been drinking, so no one say that about anything. But I'm sick and tired of this God blessed team with a coach that's got his head so far where the sun doesn't shine. I'm trying to maybe save my job, Bloom. Maybe.
That's okay.
Just a little bit. But you have a coach that has no clue what he's doing. You have a coach that is, not necessarily ruining your quarterback, but just not using him to his strengths. Has no idea what's going on. For whatever reason, puts Melvin Gordon in. Like, seriously, why is Melvin Gordon on the team? Why didn't they draft Isaiah Pacheco? Why did they get Montrell Washington? Like, okay, like, seriously, what's going on with this team? It was supposed to be different. A winless Raiders team beat the Denver Broncos, and I firmly blame Nathaniel Hackett. Now, at the end of the game, stop me if you've heard this before, Bloom. The end of the game, Russell Wilson turned it on. The end of the game, Russell Wilson got some things going. At the end of the game, Russell Wilson started running, and I think he kind of messed up his shoulder. Is that out there yet, Bloom?
No. Well,
Does that hit the Twitterverse? All I know is he had some towels over one shoulder and not the other. All I know is they showed a TV shot of him getting a massage on his shoulder. And all I know is when he reached out for the touchdown that they had to look at a million times because they were down a ref, it looked like maybe he got a little bit banged up. Javonte Williams is banged up. Randy Gregory, stop me if you've heard this before. Randy Gregory is probably not going to play a full season. Shocking. So you have a coach that doesn't know what he's doing, that makes every excuse under the sun. You have a left tackle that's not good. Sorry, I know his massage therapist will get mad at me and be like, oh, he's the greatest ever. Yes, Garrett is a nice man, and that's the difference you have to take when you look at these players. If you look at these players individually, is Garrett Bowles a cool dude? Yeah. I see him at Chipotle, like, takes his arm out of his socket waving at me so much. And I was like, do you know what I say about you on the air? Like, is Garrett Bowles nice? Yes, he's a good man. He is a good man. Is he good at football? No. Don't even get me started on the right tackle. So you have a team, Josie. Let's just stick with Josie Jewell at inside linebacker. That'll really work, everybody. That's the plan. That's what we want to do. You won't draft an inside linebacker. You won't draft the right tackle. You won't let Russ actually cook. Jerry Jeudy's not good. He's not dialed in. He's not focused. Are you queuing the Chuck D? Give him till Thursday just because. You're feeling gracious, whatever. But I look at this team and I see failure. I see nothing but failure everywhere you look. Up and down this roster, up and down this coaching staff, except for Ejiro Evero. Just, can you make Ejiro Evero the head coach, like, now, please? Is that possible? Can they do that? Can they make their defense coordinator the head coach? Is Nathaniel Hackett one and done? No, probably not. But is he the Matt Rule of the AFC? Yeah, it sure seems like it. And I'm sick of it. I'm just done. Like, that. You only have so many weeks. You only have so many games. Figure it out. Let's not play anybody in the preseason. Everybody's hurt now. Who knows about Javonte's injury? Bloom, give me the latest, because Lord knows I just drove home and I started this show. So whatever. But, like, it's just disappointing. It's disappointing, Bloom. I'm sorry.
You're safe. You're safe here, Cecil. You're safe. It's okay. It's okay. I want to hug you. I want to hold your head to my bosom and say it's okay. It's going to be okay. Because, Cecil, I wonder if just when they got Russell Wilson, much like we saw some teams earlier in the season lose games because emotionally they just thought, okay, we've got this now. That getting Russell Wilson made them feel like they accomplished something. They didn't accomplish anything. And if there's one thing we learned with this parody Pete Rozelle NFL, it's that there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of dedication, and to be a team of NFL players, you have to bring it. You have to be coordinated. You have to have coaching on your side. You have to have everybody pulling in the same direction. And it doesn't feel that way with Denver. It does feel that way with Cortland Sutton helping your fantasy teams at least. You did see Jerry Jeudy at least get involved in the downfield passing game. The backfield, oh my. Melvin Gordon with a fumble that was returned for a touchdown. Mike Boone, the game could have kept going if he had just caught a pass open in the middle of the field. and Javonte Williams leaves with the knee. Some speculation that maybe it's like an MCL meniscus, maybe only 2 to 4 weeks. That's where you're at with Williams. You're hoping it's only 2 to 4 weeks. And maybe this sets up that story where Russ cooks because they don't really have a choice now. They don't really have a choice if Mike Boone is their lead back because I don't think they trust Melvin Gordon. I think maybe they did finally get the memo there. And yeah, this team, if in some ways it's good that they're playing on Thursday because it gives them very little time to dwell on this. And as we've seen already, how teams have changed their fortune this early into the season from how they felt or what we thought about them to where they're at just 2 or 3 weeks later. Again, these are two teams, Denver and Indianapolis, looking for answers. And see, the other thing I just got to mention, because I just want people to know about this song. I forget what song it was sampled for when you were saying that, though. It's Diana Ross, some of that good Diana Ross 70s stuff. If there's I can't do it with my eye. I don't want it. The Cure to the love hangover. See, she just got a hangover. So still a hangover from that Super Bowl victory that you got to enjoy with the Broncos.
Sick from all this love hangover. That's what Prince B said.
Yeah.
And I love Prince B, except when he got on the cross side of KRS-One.
Yeah.
And KRS-One went on stage.
Yeah.
And Prince B's in PM Dawn for people that don't know. But KRS-One went on stage and like grabbed the mic from Prince B. Prince B was the fat one. Right. He's passed on now. But like for people that know, like he was the big guy in PM Dawn. And KRS-One, rule number 1 in life, Bloom. 2 rules. 1, don't get on the bad side of me if you're the Broncos.
Easy.
Or actually, it should be the opposite.
Right.
2, don't get on the bad side of KRS-One.
No, the number 1 MC, the Blast Master.
I'll
just take
Josh
him here.
Jacobs is unstoppable.
Josh Jacobs is the man.
Here comes the Colts, whoever it is running the ball. And this was evident in the preseason. Like they can't stop the run, and Josh Jacobs was unstoppable.
Yeah, and you had Devontae Adams. Even though Patrick Surtain did a pretty good job, you still found ways. The Raiders found ways for Devontae Adams to get his, and that was basically it. Matt Collins had a touchdown almost, but not quite. Darren Waller, it was the Broncos, but if you can run the ball, you don't need to pass to the tight end against the Broncos. That's good enough. And this is a game where they got the drop. Vegas did. They finally got a win. And they've been right there. They were right there against the Chargers. They should have beaten the Cardinals. I mean, that was a ridiculous loss, and they were right there against Tennessee. We'll see if they can be right there against a team that is embarrassing Tom Brady in Tampa Bay right now, the Kansas City Chiefs.
You're going to hang in the AFC West looking like that.
Yeah.
Seriously?
No.
Seriously.
Get out of here with that.
Out of here with that noise. Did I cuss? I feel like I was like Will Ferrell in Old School when he's doing the debate against who's the bald dude, and he does the debate, and he just like
Dean. I can't remember.
He rattles off on it, and then he's just like, comes out of the blackout, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like. I wake up and I go, what did I say? Oh, I hope I did.
No.
I get that so many times. Like, do you remember when you said no? Not really. If it's the Broncos, I just get enraged. I don't know.
Cease, maybe this is like Office Space, and the next thing you know, they're going to call into the office and hire you as, assistant GM.
It looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately. Well, I haven't said I've been missing.
I show up, start zone out for a little bit.
Not now. I got a meeting with the Bobs. Okay, we'll get this cleaned up for you. Looks like I messed up my camera angle a little bit. That's probably when I hit my desk.
That's okay.
Drafting table. I'm sorry, everybody.
See, you need to trademark. You need to patent that thing with the keys dropping. You should own that because that's it. There's the mic drop and then there's the key drop.
Take them. I don't need them. Don't need them. Anyway, please let me in. Monday, talking to Nathaniel Hackett.
Don't change the locks.
Tell him how great everything is. Don't change the locks on me, Broncos. Anyway, was it good for YouTube? I hope so. It's the Audible, Cecil, Lammey, and Sigmund Bloom. We are the Audible. Make sure to check out footballguys.com now with monthly subscriptions.
Yeah.
So you want to dip your toe into the Football Guys pool? Then join us
at
footballguys.com.
You might be afraid of commitment. You don't have to commit.
Yeah, baby. Come on. It's all good. So stay with me. Right? Was that Shakespeare's sister? Shakespeare, yeah. Stay with me. See, now I'm going to get the message from Joe like, I thought I asked you to stop drinking on the Audible, buddy. Joe, I'm completely sober.
He's drunk on emotion.
Yes, drunk on rage. I think somebody said in the chat room. So there you go. We appreciate you all. We love you all. We do this for you. We do this for us too, because we're like egomaniacs. But anyway, we do this for you because, like, when we're here with you guys, that makes all the TPS reports and everything else in life, just in general. I'm not talking about anything specific. Did you get the memo?
Yeah.
I got the memo. I don't need a million messages on Basecamp about it. But anyway, he's Sigmund Bloom. I'm Cecil Lammey. Thanks for watching. I might be losing 2 jobs this week, Bloom.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
All right, everyone.
Bust open one of those bottles of wine, Cease.
Right. From John Elway. There you go. I think I just might. He's Sigmund. I'm Cecil. Stay tuned and stay frosty.